The illegal growth of marijuana has negative impacts on the environment. Therefore, legalizing marijuana benefits the environment, economics, and politics. The environmental issues from marijuana have been evident all over the country. There have even been videos of all the deforestation that occurs because of it, and one of the videos even shows the deforestation caused by more than 600 illicit grow operations. Another problem is that pot plants take a lot of water to grow. Many of the farmers still grow in off-the-grid areas and illegally siphoning millions of gallons of water without any regulation. Transporting water from lakes and streams is how they get their water, and an average plot of 1,000 plants requires 5,000 gallons of water daily. In 2012, 2 creeks that were being mapped got so low that they turned into a series of disconnected pools with absolutely no water flowing between them, which was trapping young fish in shrinking ponds. This is also because of marijuana plants needing tons of water. In California, hilltops have been leveled to make room for the crop, and road construction clogs the streams with dislodged soil. Little of the water is left for salmon, whose populations have gone down dramatically by logging. The Pacific fisher is one of the main animals being affected by the high-powered rodenticides that are used for outdoor marijuana. This creature is actually being federally protected under the Endangered Species Act, and this isn't the only animal that is being affected by this. Another blow to the environmental health from outdoor growing comes from the fertilizers. Growers dump their used potting soil in places where it washes into streams and triggers blooms of toxic algae. The deaths of 4 dogs on river tributaries have been linked to the algae after the dogs swim in the rivers and streams. These illegal marijuana growing operations aren't only endangering native plants and animals in the forest, but park goers as well. The Forestry Service has been seen serious pot growing operations sprout in 67 national forests in 20 states. This number continues rising because of the acceptance of marijuana. The first growing of marijuana plants in national parks started in the 1960s, and large plots were started in 1995 in California. When talking about prices to clean up all the damage that has been done, there have been many researchers that say it's nearly impossible, especially since it's not illegal to grow in a couple of states. Some sheriffs say they don't have the time or resources to clean up any of these messes. In 2010, the cleanup of 335 California National Forest sites removed more than 130 tons of trash, 300 pounds of pesticides, 5 tons of fertilizer, and nearly 260 miles of irrigation piping from marijuana growing operations. The cleanup and restoration cost between $10,000 and $15,000 per acre, which is absolutely ridiculous to some people.
The income that would come in from the legalization of marijuana would allow the government to pay for regulations of growing marijuana, which would avoid all of these negative environmental impacts. The legalization of marijuana supplies taxes for the government to use. For example, in Colorado, they have put an excise tax of 15% for wholesale sales, as well as a 15% sales tax on retail sales in stores. A state tax has also been placed of 2.9%, which is all over Colorado. From these taxes, funds have helped decrease different issues that politics say come with legalizing marijuana. For example, funds have went to prevention of youth marijuana use, treatments for substance abuse, public health, law enforcement, and public safety. The funds could also go to regulating the growth of marijuana to reduce environmental issues. The drug industry alone exceeds $10 billion in profits a year, and the government spends $20 billion on drug enforcement, as well as 1 million arrests for drug violations. That takes up 20% of state prisoners and 60% of federal prisoners. By legalizing marijuana, prison space will be freed up, and it will even earn the government money to allow them to prevent environmental issues.
23 states legalize medical marijuana, but only 4 have legalized the recreational use. These states include Colorado and Washington, which passed bills or ballot measures legalizing their recreational use back in 2012. Alaska and Oregon will become the next states where recreational use is legal after voters approved cannabis ballot measures set to become effective in 2015. Now I'm going to talk about who's in support of legalizing marijuana. Just to give you a brief overview of the Democratic and Republican Party, the Democrats are liberal and they're left-leaning. They support movements such as gay marriage and abortion and recreational use of marijuana. They're in favor of an active role of government in society and believe that such involvement, be it in environmental regulation, can improve the quality of people's lives. Republicans, on the other hand, are more conservative and right-leaning. They do not support abortion and gay marriage, and they believe government interventions hinders economic productivity. For example, they think the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is useless and should be shut down. According to CNN, they had a poll, and 60% of all Americans believe it should be legalized, 62% of which are Democrats, 59% of independents believe it should be legalized, and where the problem lies is only 36% of Republicans support the legalization of marijuana. For Democrats in primaries, it has become an issue that sets you apart and gets you votes because of the overwhelming support. Candidates are calling for full legislation, introducing a tax and regulatory regime that would make the drug safer and bolster state budgets. These issues can also energize young voters and increase voting turnout. The issue on legalizing marijuana not only benefits the U.S. politically by increasing voting turnouts and getting more Republicans and young voters more active, but it helps environmentally as well. Most forage coverage in illegal marijuana growth is in the Northeast, such as like the New England states. Luckily, the Northeast is predominantly Democrat, and 60% are in favor of the bill. As a result, advocates are targeting this region for legalization. This will bring illegal growth out of the forest and into factories where the plant can be safely harvested, and will prevent environmental detriments that illegally growing it causes. In conclusion, getting younger and more Republicans to share some viewpoints on recreational marijuana use, as the Democrats do, will aid states in the legalization of marijuana, which will in turn save the forest from illegal growth.